Hi, welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two Formula One dorks. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your Riders on the Storm host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the 1971 season, and this is part 2. So let's go.
I love that song. Good song. Who sings it, Louis?
Links to the cars too, Riders.
Does. Yeah.
I mean, it's meant to be, I think it implies horses, but...
Yeah.
But horsepower. The Doors.
Yeah, that's right.
It's one of their big... Not their big hit, but one that lots of people really like. I mean, their big hit is like Light My Fire. You know?
Yes, Light My Fire. Interesting you should mention the Doors because we had, sadly, the passing of, and as we know, this is 2025, we had the passing of Val Kilmer, during the week.
I did not know.
Yes.
Did I miss that?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
You missed it. Yes, he died, sadly.
Oh, wow. That's right. He had quite an illness, didn't he?
He did. But he was great in the Doors movie. Like that, he was amazing in that movie.
Yeah, he was very good. And I think if I recall correctly, he was very unwell, but he was in that...
He was in Top Gun Part 2.
Yeah, the Top Gun movie. Yeah, and he had limited acting because of his illness, but he still did it.
He did, yeah. So anyway, and I'm down to using some quite unflattering terms for us now. I've gone into dorks. Like that's not a good.
Yes. You're recycling via recycle. I'm sure you've used dorks before.
Have I?
You're recycling bad terms.
I know. I've got to find some more flattering terms for us, Luigi.
Yeah. But we're up to the Spanish Grand Prix now. Race 2 of 11. It's at Montjuic Park. Am I saying that right?
I don't know.
Montjuic. I think there's a Montjuic at Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, this is Montjuic then.
Yes.
On the 18th of April, and this is 75 laps, and the weather was hot. So this race was 6 weeks after the South African Grand Prix, and we're in Spain, of course. Rosa, something stood out about these results, right? About the results so far?
Yes. All 3 races so far, well, actually 2 races so far, have been won by the 12-cylinder cars. Well, hang on.
There's only been 2 races.
There's only been one race. This is race 2.
I think what you might be thinking of is back into the 70s.
Maybe, yes.
You also had you had the V12s winning 4 of the last 5.
That's right.
And we had a V12 just win 71.
Yes.
Ferrari.
Yes. Ferrari's up there, yes.
And if you zoom out, that's, like 4 races.
Yes.
So the writing's on the wall, Ferrari time.
Yes, but Holmes should have really won in South Africa if it wasn't for that bolt that fell out.
That's true. I mean, he's got the Ford, right? Yeah. So anyway, for this race, practice gets underway, and just like in South Africa, Stewart's on another planet. Doesn't matter if he's in the older Tyrrell or the new Tyrrell, he's flying, and he broke the lap record set by Rindt in 69.
Yes, but Stewart was kind of nowhere in South Africa. Well, he had a semi-nonsense start, didn't he?
He came second.
I know, but he's got to make up for that in this race.
Possibly. And meanwhile, the McLaren Home Magic from South Africa, that's pretty much gone. Both McLarens had trouble all weekend.
So things wrapped up on day 2 of practice. Stewart went even quicker, but X came back and he grabs pole, and Ferrari locks out the front row with Regazzoni just a 10th behind X.
What a big start for Ferrari. They win the opener. They win 4 of the last 5 races of 70, and now they're 1-2 on the grid. So those 12-cylinder cars, they're cooking.
So Stewart had to settle for 4th, and he started on the second row alongside Rodriguez in the BRM.
Yeah. Okay, so at race start, clean off the line, X makes a good start and he jumps into the lead, followed by Regazzoni, and then Stewart slots into 3rd.
Well, that's pretty smooth out the front, but in the midfield, there was a lot happening. There was contact between Hill and Surtees, and both are out within 5 laps.
Yeah, it's tough seeing Graham Hill languishing at the back these days.
I know.
And since Jack Brabham retired, that team's just not the same. It just feels like it, and almost like Jack stepped back hard once he stopped driving, you know?
Yes, I agree. It does not have the feel of Jack being like the steady hand in the lead and in control. Yeah.
And it's funny to also hear Hill and Surtees battling it out like the old days.
Yes.
You know, like
yes.
the old dudes battling in the midfield.
Yes. So up front, though, Stewart was on a mission. He passed Regazzoni on lap 1 and then got around X by lap 6 to take the lead.
Yeah, so Regazzoni was starting to fade fast. He couldn't keep up with the front runners. And before long, Eamon in the Matra also breezed past him as well. And he also barely held on to fourth before the Ferrari engine gave up on him completely. So,
well, that's
poor Regazzoni.
I know they were showing big pace, but only Andretti's car was holding together so far. So fingers crossed for X, who's still hanging on in second.
Yeah, and Stewart was just hammering out fast laps. X and Eamon tried to keep up, but eventually Eamon just couldn't hang. The pace was just too much. At least Eamon's up there.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot happening, but all these cars are just getting further and further apart. It's not really exciting race, is it?
No. And it was all pretty stable until lap 42. And that's when Andretti's engine caught a small fire. And by lap 43, he was out. So
no, not again. A Ferrari issue again. That's 2 DNFs for Ferrari. Again. Sounds very familiar. They had these problems last year, like at the beginning of last year.
Yeah. It's not good for them. So around that time, Stewart now had a comfortable 10-second lead. And by lap 60, that lead was now down to 4 seconds.
Yeah, he was just managing the gap, right? Playing it smart, just trying not to have engine issues.
Yeah, could be. But X was pushing, and with 6 laps to go, the gap was down to 3 seconds. So it's still there.
Wow. Well, 3 seconds is getting, it's getting, X is starting to, get some, he's starting to believe maybe that he can overtake. Surely Stewart starts to extend the lead though.
Well, let's see, because Stewart did have it under control. He basically kept the gap steady, and he crossed the line with a 3.4 second gap.
Yeah,
and a big moment, that's the first ever win for the Tyrrell chassis, because before this, they were running the Matra chassis. Remember they were sort of
yes,
the Matra withdrew and they put the Tyrrell.
That's right.
This is their first chassis. Yeah.
And this is the Stewart's third straight win at this track. So I think he likes Spain.
Yeah. Eamon came home a distant third, followed by Rodriguez in the BRM, Holm in the McLaren, and Beltoise back in action after his race ban because of the incident in that sports car race.
So, but that was a pretty flat race though. I mean, X gave a little bit of a spark, although whether it was him or Stewart managing the gap, it wasn't a great race.
Yeah. And not every race can be a thriller, but hey, another win for Stewart, a driver that I really like, and history made for Tyrrell with their first win. And I was going to mention a quick comment about the Tyrrell thing. This Tyrrell chassis was created in secret, and it was a bit of a surprise when they came out with their own chassis. And for them to get a win so early and not being reliant on the Matra was a big deal. So while we didn't talk about it in the opening, it was a big deal for the time. Like, it was done in secret and everyone was
surprised. It really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because
Why was it so secret?
I think there was something to do with the relationship with Matra.
Okay.
And he was leaving them and all this sort of stuff. So anyway, big win for Stewart and big win for Tyrrell, but a boring race.
Yeah, it was a bit. So Jackie Stewart's now in the lead of the Drivers' Championship. He's on 15 points. Mario Andretti slipped to second on 9, and Jackie X and Chris Amon are on 6 points in third. Ferrari and Tyrrell are joint on the constructors on 15 points. Matra is on 6 in third.
Okay. So up to the next race of the season, the Monaco Grand Prix. And look at me, I'm saying Monaco instead of Monaco. So haven't I improved? So this is race 3 of 11 at Monte Carlo, of course. It's on the 23rd of May, which is my birthday, and it's 80 laps. Yeah, and the weather was overcast but dry.
So there's a bit of a special announcement here, Luigi. For the first time since 1955, the Monaco Grand Prix is allowing more than 16 starters.
That is so funny. They're finally realising that finishing with only 3 or 4 cars isn't exactly great entertainment. And how far do they go? Do they go to 30, 28?
They upped it to 18.
Yeah. That's a bit of a joke. I mean, that's barely any. And these cars were so much smaller as well, than what we have today in 25.
That is true. It is a bit of a joke, but at least they didn't have any bizarre rules about giving preference to past constructors and having to have been in the race for like a number of years or only the number one drivers. They went with a very clean system. The fastest 18 of the 23 entries got to race.
That's very logical.
Yes.
I did say imagine. Remember at the beginning of...
You did. Yeah, you did.
Imagine if Formula One was fair. That sounds fair.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Yeah, for once.
So before we get into Monaco, though, I just want to call out the non-championship race at Silverstone 2 weeks earlier. Do you want to guess who won that race?
Are you setting me up for a Ferrari punchline? I have no idea. Because remember, we don't do...
We don't do
non-championship. That non-championship racing is a niche podcast.
That's right.
We've chosen not to go down that path. So
that's
who won
right.
it?
Graham Hill in the lobster claw.
No way.
Yes, he still got it. But there were no points on the line. It was just like a fun practice race. But he won it in the lobster claw. So, this is Monaco. Maybe this is his race. It's a good warm-up. Yes.
Yeah. And I wonder if that will go down as his last win of any race.
Any race, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be.
Yes.
So let's talk practice for this race. So Thursday was a total washout. There was torrential rain and barely anyone went out.
Well, Eamon went fastest though, and everyone else was over 2 seconds slower. So that's pretty good. I mean, he was a good driver, Eamon. And in the wet, as we know, it takes a lot of skill.
Yeah. Well, then on Friday, there was a dry track. I thought they had Fridays off at Monaco. So maybe those rules changed.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, on Friday, there was a dry track. And this time, it was Stewart. He was all business in the Tyrrell. Not only did he just storm out and take pole with a time of 1 minute 23.2, but he was 1.2 seconds ahead of Ix in the Ferrari. Siffert in the BRM was third, and he was 1.6 seconds off Stewart. And same for Eamon.
Wow, that is blistering. But where were the other Ferraris, Louis?
Yeah, so the V12 is not really geared for this track. But
No.
We've said this before, but we've seen... Remember, some V12s have done really well at the track. I think the H16 did well at this track once.
Oh,
but anyway,
gosh.
they were 11th, or Regazzoni was in 11th, and Andretti didn't even qualify.
What?
Yeah. Andretti had major car issues, and since Friday was the only dry session, he couldn't put in a proper lap.
So they all hoped for a dry Saturday to improve times, but nope, more rain. So the grid was locked in from the single Friday hour. Well, that's a shame for Andretti.
So it means the winner of the South African Grand Prix didn't qualify for this race.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
That is crazy. Yeah. So on race day, we had overcast skies and 17 cars completed the warm-up. Did you notice I said 17, Louis? Regazzoni.
Oh, yeah, 18, yeah.
Yeah, Regazzoni didn't. His fire extinguisher went off accidentally.
But did he start?
Yeah, he still started.
But how? Anyway, okay, do we just move
I have
on from that?
no idea. I have no idea.
He just drives with foam on him and no fire extinguisher, I guess. So.
Well, worse has happened. There's been rags. There's been lots of things.
This is the least of our concerns. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and this year, the flag was waved by Louis Chiron himself to celebrate the 40th anniversary of his win at this track.
Well, that's
bit nice.
Yeah. So just before the start, Amon's Matra refused to fire up and he had to be pushed off the grid. That's pretty bad for him again.
He's sort of up there this season, isn't he?
I know.
But he's having bad luck constantly,
Again,
like
yep.
typical Eamon, you know?
Yes, yep.
And then the start, according to Mike Lang, it happened, I'll use the quote from Mike Lang, amidst a certain amount of creeping,
What?
especially from Rodriguez.
What? That's a bit rude calling out Rodriguez. It's because he's not British. He wouldn't say that if he was a British driver.
Yeah, Mexican driver in the BRM. That's very funny. But I love the term, a certain amount of creeping. It just creates an image of dodginess.
Yeah, dodgy.
You know?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Stewart was the best creeper, and he launched into the lead like a rocket, with Siffert sneaking into second past X. Meanwhile, poor Eamon was scrambling to fire his engine while others were halfway around the circuit.
He qualified fourth.
Yeah.
I know. He could have actually ended up on the podium in this race.
I know. Pity. So end of lap 1, Stewart was comfortably ahead, Siffert in second, then X, Rodriguez, Peterson, Holm, the usual suspects.
So Rodriguez's creeping worked. Where did he qualify again?
He qualified 5th, and he was running 4th after lap 1, so yeah, I guess it paid off. So He gained a position. But I don't know I still don't know why Mike Lang called him out other than potential
creeping.
racism.
Maybe he thinks he jumped the start. I don't know. That's weird. On lap 2, though, Louis, our hopes for Mr. Monaco are dashed. He crashes out, and that's it for Graham Hill. Done.
So the non-championship winner is out. So, yeah. So he started 9th, which was decent in that Brabham, but he might have been overdriving it. Who knows? He does know this track like the back of his hand.
He does, so yeah.
If anyone's going to have a crash, you'd have to think something else played a part. Something.
The lobster clause. Yes.
Yeah, the lobster clause caught him out. So, yeah.
So there was other midfield retirements early on too. So, yeah, there's some early chaos happening at Monaco here.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Stewart, in the meantime, was just stretching his lead. And he was pulling away at about half a second per lap. And the top 6 looked pretty much locked in. And we know Monaco's not easy to pass.
Yeah, this is looking one of those processional Monaco races again. Somebody has to shake something up. And now that we've got 18 drivers and it's still not helping.
No. And however, Ronnie Peterson in the March, he was 5th all over Rodriguez, who was in 4th. And on lap 13, Rodriguez hit a curb and he had to pit for a new tyre. So suddenly Peterson's up to 4th.
So now he's got clean air to chase after Siffert and X. A lot of people rate Peterson really highly, and this drive is proving why for some. We'll follow him carefully. He's not that consistent, I think, but we'll see what happens with him.
Not that consistent because of the car.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, because he's in the T-tray car.
Yeah, he's in the T-tray car. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So by lap 30, and remember this is an 80-lap race, Stewart now had a 15-second lead, but the crowd was pretty much watching Peterson. I wonder if they were just fascinated by the car.
What the hell?
Or by the driving. I'm sure it was the driving. Because Peterson passed Hicks and was now chasing down Siffert, and then he actually took second place.
Wow. Well, he's making that T-tray work for him.
Yeah. So Peterson even pulled away from Siffert and Hicks easily, but closing the gap to Stewart, that was a whole different ball game, because by halfway mark of the race, Stewart had added another 3 seconds to his lead.
Looks like he met his match in Stewart. Yeah, Stewart's just on another level. And it makes sense that T-tray wouldn't hurt around Monaco though, because you don't really need speed around Monaco, do you?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was trying to think of where you're going with the T-tray not working in Monaco.
Well, it does. It's
do you
not
want
hindering.
a weird front nose or not want a weird front nose?
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to work out.
Yeah,
but I get what you mean. So yeah, the race settled into a groove. Siffert was losing ground to X, who in turn was comfortably ahead of Holm. There's not a whole lot of action at this stage.
Yeah, except Siffert retired a bit later on with a broken oil pipe, but that was about it for late drama.
Yeah, and that's sad because, I mean, I think we'll fix it up in the TP episode, but Sif,
Yes.
he was up there, you know, in that BRM. And we know BRM have not been the greatest team. I mean, the BRM last won the championship in 62, so we're talking 9 years ago. So
Yes.
he's really taking that car into interesting places. So by lap 59, Stewart had a 30-second lead, and he backed off slightly towards the end, and he still won the race by 25 seconds. Pretty much total domination.
So it turns out that X had been driving most of the race with a broken rear anti-roll bar, so that must have been a nightmare to handle.
Yeah. Do I need to do a session on anti-roll bar? No. I don't even know. I'll be making it up.
Yeah.
So this makes his third-place finish, this X's third-place finish in the Ferrari, quite impressive because, yeah, I'm sure that car was not handling.
Yeah.
Well.
So, yeah, Stewart wins Monaco in style. Peterson in second with the T-tray. And X holds on for a gutsy third.
Solid. Good result by Peterson. And good win by Stewart, of course.
Yeah, well, I knew you'd be pleased with that. I did find out a very interesting fact about this race, Luigi. So, and I know you're a music guy. So The Who I don't mind, they actually got some good songs, good music, used parts of this Grand Prix and showed Jackie Stewart in the music video for the song Bubba O'Reilly.
Really? Was it him racing or him,
yes,
the person at the track?
I think it was him racing, I think. I haven't actually looked it up, but I
Oh, that should have been used in the intro.
Yes, you could.
You should have fed that to me. Oh, well, that's really good. That's a good song. Do you know the song?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I was going to look up the film clip, the music video, but I didn't get a chance. We'll have to do that.
But you know what it does show? It shows the profile of F1 evolving and changing because you've got rock stars and Formula One drivers hanging out, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, interesting call out. I'm going to check out the video clip.
Yeah. And The Who, are they British band? They are, aren't they? Or are they American?
I know. I'm pretty sure they're
British. Yeah, they're British.
But I wonder if there was someone Scottish in that band. I don't think they're a Scottish band.
No.
If they are, I'm in trouble. But
yeah. So there you go. All right. So at the end of this race, we've got Jackie Stewart stretching his lead, is now on 24. Jackie X is second on 10 points, and Mario Andretti is on 9 points. Ronnie Peterson and Chris Amon are fourth on 6 points. Tyrrell's now jumped over Ferrari. They're on 24, and Ferrari's second on 19, with March and Matra and McLaren all on 6.
Interesting. Ferrari had a bit of a disaster race, that one.
They did. Yeah.
Okay, so we're up to the fourth race of the season, the Dutch Grand Prix. There's 11 races, just as a reminder. So race 4 of 11. This is at Zandvoort. It's on the 20th of June, and it's a 70-lap race, and the weather was wet, which generally makes for interesting racing.
And usually what happens in Spa. Oh, no. Hang on. This is Dutch.
This is Zandvoort.
Yeah.
This is, remember, Spa, they cancelled it.
They cancelled it, yes. So they did actually do they took Spa off the calendar, but they all went to Hockenheim for a non-championship race, and it was the Jochen Rindt Memorial.
Oh, interesting. So not a full field, but a solid lineup. And who took the win? None other than X in the Ferrari.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but it was a non-championship race.
Yeah, well, such is life. I mean, Graham Hill won one too, so...
Yeah. And then he crashed out.
Yeah.
So making a debut at Zandvoort is the gas turbine Lotus, driven by Aussie David Walker. It was officially called the Lotus Pratt and Whitney. So, yeah, good little stat there, little fact for your next quiz night.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that's the car with the generator in the back with something weird up front. No clutch, and you have to press the brake and accelerator at the same time to drive it. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's going to be like driving a spaceship on wet tyres.
Yeah. And speaking of tyres, Friday's practice basically set the grid because Saturday got rained out and there was drama too. Both Andretti and Regazzoni had tyres splitting right off the rims.
Jeepers. Yeah, tyre technology seems to be in a race of its own this season. Everyone's pushing limits, maybe too hard.
Yeah, and I mean, how scary would that be? As a driver, if that's happening, you're going to go, I don't want that happening when I'm doing 300 kilometers an hour.
Exactly.
So Regazzoni had a blown engine too, but earlier in the day, he was the fastest. And in the end, Ickx ended up grabbing pole with a time of 1 minute 17.4, which is 0.04 ahead of Rodriguez in the BRM, and Stewart was close behind.
And our gas turbine debut, Tont, how did Walker do?
Well, he qualified 22nd out of 24, and he was about 4 seconds off pole, so that little turbine didn't spin fast enough, I guess.
Oh, gosh. Well, innovation doesn't need to start on the front row, Luigi. It just needs to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere.
You don't just win straight away, do you?
No.
Yeah. So race day was cold, wet, and right off the bat, Andretti was out with a fuel pump issue before the race even started.
Oh, gosh.
Remember he won the South African Grand Prix?
Yes, he did.
Seems like it's starting to become a distant memory.
Nothing since.
Yeah.
So when the flag dropped, it was Ickx and Rodriguez charging forward like maniacs in those awful conditions.
And there was no excessive creeping from Rodriguez this time. So Mike Lang would have been relieved. So that's a good sign.
So Amon came flying through from fifth, lunging past Stewart into turn one at the Tarzan hairpin. Meanwhile, Siffert spun his BRM and caused absolute panic behind him.
Yes, that's chaos from the jump, and Eamon wasn't done. He tried the same move again on Stewart, but overcooked it and ended up beached in the sand. Race over, just like that.
Oh, thanks, Amon, for giving us a little drama early on, though.
Yeah. He's still up there, though. You have to give him points.
Yeah. You will in the TP.
Yeah. Yeah, so then Stewart spun in the awful conditions. He dropped 5 spots, and it was carnage from there. I did say wet race gives us action, doesn't it?
Yes.
So Andretti spun, Pescarolo tagged Jenkins Brabham, and Walker crashed the Lotus 56B.
Wow, they're skating out there. It's a mess, and we're not even at lap 10.
Yeah. Gali hit Savert. Is Gali or Jali? Probably Gali.
Gali, yeah.
Gali hit Savert. Whistle. So Savert's in the Tyrrell. Whistle, I think in the Lotus, had issues, and just driver after driver was struggling. But up front, Ickx and Rodriguez had pulled 25 seconds clear and were locked in a duel.
Now that's what we like. Drivers going flat out in the rain and holding their nerve.
Yeah. And Rodriguez eventually muscled past Ickx, and for 20 laps they went at it, lapping nearly the entire field in the process.
Wow. That is amazing. What a battle. And in the wet. That is good racing.
Yeah. Wheel to wheel, able to keep going.
That's right.
So on lap 30, Ickx retakes the lead, and lap 31, Rodriguez grabs it back. And then lap 32, Ickx strikes again. And this time he starts pulling away.
Okay, let's go Ickx.
Really exciting battles. So by lap 35, Ickx had built up a 4-second lead, and these two started to lap, or they lapped everyone except Regazzoni, who was still a full minute behind.
What about Stewart, our reigning champion?
Well, he's not the reigning champion, he's the 69 champion.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was he was struggling because the Goodyear shod tyres couldn't hold a candle to the Firestone runners in the wet, and Stewart was over 2 laps behind Ickx.
What? Memo to Goodyear, figure out your wet tyres.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
So
that's got to be tyres. I mean, that's not Stewart. He's really good in the wet, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
As we know from one of his greatest races was that 68 one in the wet.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the top 8 cars were all on Firestones.
There you go.
So there's your answer.
But halfway through, the rain eases up. It didn't matter, though. Ickx just kept extending his lead, and while Rodriguez started nursing some issues, apparently he had to use first gear to get a decent corner exit.
Wow. That's that probably explains why Ickx pulled away a bit, you'd think. But what a brave move. He kept pushing through, and he was hanging on to second, and by lap 60 with 10 to go, Ickx had stretched the lead to 15 seconds.
But rain came back at the end of the race, and Rodriguez closed it to 8 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty impressive with the thing he was juggling. So
Yes.
too little too late because X held strong and took the win. Rodriguez finished second. And Regazzoni, well, he spun into the catch fencing with 4 laps to go, but still held on to third. So I don't know how you can recover from the catch fencing. I thought that would wrap around the car or something.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
What a finish. Who else made it into the points?
Well, Peterson, just to change your perception, ever reliable in 4th.
Okay.
And Surtees in 5th. He wouldn't have been a young man at this stage.
No.
He was lucky to finish. And he clipped the guardrail late and damaged his suspension. And Siffert rounded out the top 6. So not bad after that early spin he did early in the race.
That was a roller coaster race. There's lots happening there. Rain helped, but duels, heartbreak, it was good.
Yeah, and innovation.
Yes, well.
And a serious statement from X. When it rains, he shines.
Oh, wow, Louis. That's a good one. I like it. It's a good Louis saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to these championship standings. Jackie Stewart is on 24 points. Jackie X, though, closed the gap a little bit. He's on 19 then that. Because where'd Jackie Stewart finish? Like 11th or something?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 9th, I think. I have to check.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have a look.
And we're out of the points anyway. And Andretti and Rodriguez and Peterson are all on 9 points, but a fair way off. Ferrari's taken back the lead in the constructors on 28 points, and the Tyrrell is on 24 points. And then there's, others, but
makes you
behind.
wonder how Ferrari left a lot on the table at Monaco because, look, they're right up there.
Yes.
And they got nothing there the last race. So, yeah.
All right. I think we'll do one more.
No, I think we're done, Rosa.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. All
you
right.
seem to be having a great time.
I am. I'm having a great time.
I'm feeling like we've got heaps of time.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it there and we'll come back for the next part.
Okay, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.